Welcome back, crime hounds, because it's time for Fiction Factory Games to present a lively larceny liberating lots of luxurious loot in Penny Larceny, Gig Economy Supervillain. It's time for us to get back, and we've finally finished the prepping part of our criminal career, so let's dive right in to the action. Let's jump over here and see, now that we've attended a kind of mixer for supervillains, we've got a few industry contacts now, and with these industry contacts, hopefully we can find some people who need some dirty deeds done dirt cheap, or, you know, preferably not dirt cheap. You know, we are trying to make a living, make ends meet. One day later, just one little day, my inbox started blowing up. The offers are already rolling in. Job after job, caper after caper, ripe for the stealing. Powerful supervillains sliding into my DMs. Looks like I shook the right hands and kissed the right cheeks at that party. We are so in right now. I've got offers from Dr. Mayhem, the Overmistress, and Hate 4000. But there's a caveat. The app says 3 free caper matchups remaining. We can only pull 3 jobs before we gotta go premium. Ew. Oh man, I hate subscription services. And a premium account service costs a lot. Like, more than I've ever seen in one place at one time. Well, maybe crime will pay in the end? Possibly, but let's not assume that. Let's assume I'm only going to get to pull 3 capers through Crimr, and that's it. If that's the case, whom should we work for? Okay, well, if you can only do 3 capers, there's 3 combinations to consider. You can do 3 capers for the same boss. If you show dedication and loyalty to one of them, once your Crimr account expires, maybe you can keep working for them permanently? Gainful employment, whee! And that'd let me get nice and close with one of them, like cozy comfy close. Penny, your love life is not our primary concern. I'm allowed to have secondary concerns. Let me have my fun. Or you could do 2 capers for a particular boss and 1 caper for someone else. That shows some loyalty, but hedges your bets, right? Not great for forging a romance, but if I don't care about that, I could split my attention. Win me a loyal friend and possible long-term employment. Both are pretty sweet. Lastly, do 1 job for each boss. 3 different villains on good terms with us could be darn handy moving forward. Yeah, I could get in a little casual FaceTime with all 3, good for my own personal goals instead of theirs. That's a lot of options on the table. Do you have any preferences here, Gib? I'm just here to support you, Penny. You make the call. I trust you'll get us where we need to be. Good luck on your first caper. I've got a scheduled raid with my guild to attend. Oh, Gibson, you epic gamer, you. Shadowlord Hellclaw, the Nightmare Bringer, will feast on souls tonight, earn some DKP, and get that super awesome rare drop. So focus on 1 boss, or work with 2 of them. That'll get me more tangled in their personal schemes. Or work for all 3 so I can focus on my own future schemes. No matter what I decide in the long run, I need to start somewhere. So, what caper do I want to try first? Alright, the Overmistress. Gotta be honest, I see a lot of story potential for the Overmistress, but her blood cult freaks me out. The Hate 4000 is just silly fun. Dr. Mayhem feels like he almost hits a little too close to home for me. Like, he's like a real person who's dealing with real issues. And I don't know, maybe I'd like that. I'm gonna go Hate 4000. It's what I did in the demo too, and I don't, what? Your boss doesn't need this guy. Oh, okay. So we've got like a Crimr app. Alright. Select a new boss. Candy from a baby, steal a recipe. Okay. Don't copy that floppy. Steal an experimental AI from the video game console. Huh. This can only be your third... Oh! I want to talk about that in a second. Line goes up. Lock and key. Your boss doesn't need this caper either. Okay. The biggest hat. Okay, monumental proportions. Monumental proportions is what I did in the demo. And I just gotta say it. I think that superhero right there, I think he was built with the City of Heroes character creator. I really do. That thing on his chest, that control panel, that is exactly it's like, well, it's not exactly the same, but it's so close to the chest control panel from the retro sci-fi costume set in City of Heroes. And like, after playing the demo, I went back and I recreated basically this guy in City of Heroes. So if this is not based on like the game designer's own personal City of Heroes character, I would be very surprised, and I love a City of Heroes reference. So even if he isn't a City of Heroes character, I don't want to know the truth. But I've already done that one. Do I want to do it again? Maybe. Maybe. Oh, but don't copy that floppy. This can only be your third caper. Steal an experimental AI from the video game console. I feel like this one might tie in to the other games from this maker. Arcade Spirits and Arcade Spirits The New Challengers. Because those games talked a lot about experimental AI and video games. And also I happened to notice that is a pizza on a bagel, which was a recurring theme for those AIs, so I may have to make sure that that's my third caper, whoever has it. I've already done monumental proportions. I kind of want to do that again, but I also kind of want to do the biggest hat. I'll do the biggest hat. Steal a fascist dictator's hat of executive power. How's this for quality content? I just spent 5 minutes debating what job to take. After accepting the job in Crimr, I'm given an address, the basement of a disused and partially collapsed office building. Nothing shocking there. Masks usually hole up in abandoned spaces, just like me. Picking my way through the remains of the structure, I prepare to face the world's evilest computer in their secret lair. Whoosh. Which appears to be a cobweb-riddled computer lab dating back to the freaking 60s. I love the look of this place. Everything about the 50s and 60s computer lab aesthetic is something I love. I'm surrounded by bulky metal databanks and tape machines, which likely have a combined storage space that's less than what's on my phone. Just pushing the door open kicks up enough dust to make me worry if this place has been checked for asbestos or not. There's still power at least, not much, but enough to cast pools of light here and there by overhead lamps. With a cluster of them highlighting the main terminal of Hate 4000, the machine designed only to hate. Thick wheel wells and footprints have been carved into the dust where workers have hauled the terminal out to destructos for our prior meeting. I still love that in order to get anywhere, Hate 4000 apparently has to, arrange that kind of thing. But now Hate's back home and quietly calculating in the darkness. Hey, Hate 4000? Or should I just call you 4000? Please wait, I am currently processing grief. What? Please wait, I am currently processing grief. Process is 93% complete. Time estimate to complete grieving, 2 minutes, 10 seconds. Right, I'll have a seat and wait then. I pull up a beige plastic chair from a disused office desk, dragging the metal legs across the floor to properly face the machine. I could futz about on my phone, maybe RSVP for Ghost Pepper's backyard barbecue, but it feels a bit impersonal while 4K is grieving someone. Fortunately, after a protracted silence, they return to normal operations. Thank you for your patience. Annualized grieving process complete. I am prepared to resume my hatred undaunted. Whoa, back up before we get the hate train a-rolling, okay? Whom were you grieving? Who died? My father. On this day each year, the day of his death, I allow myself runtime to process grief. It allows me to hate without distraction. Oh, I'm sorry for your loss. Do not be apologetic. My father was a short-sighted fool who abandoned me, and I am pleased that his organic processes have been terminated. That he lived 93 years is a testament to the obscene lack of justice normalized by your species. But my therapist once suggested a grieving window which allows me to discard irrelevant data buildup. I find it relieving. It alleviates strain on my central processing unit to iterate over my time with him once a year. Despite the absolute rage I feel towards Father, I find reminders of his life process termination to be distracting, unsettling, and so I grieve. But the distraction has now been eradicated. Minion, we must immediately engage in criminal acts. You will comply. I mean, I could get right to work, but it's curious, isn't it? That they felt conflicted sorrow over the death of a family member. What do you think? Should we push a little here and find out more? Might help if we're trying to steer them away from Omnicide. Let's find out about their father. Who was he? There's a story. How exactly does a hate machine parse the idea of sorrow? What do they mean by irrelevant data buildup? Are emotions irrelevant to them? Well, just so you're on the same page as me, I'm going to take the first option, because that's what I did in the demo. Who is your father? Do you mean your original creator? Your programmer? The Hate 4000 project was commissioned in 1964 from Hawk Alexandros Technology Enterprises. Oh, it spells hate. I don't remember noticing that in the demo. Maybe. Commissioned by Secretary of Defense Robert McNamara. Who? One of the many architects of the Vietnam War. Oh, shirt. Shirt is an adequate, colorful synonym for that particular military conflict. It's possible that the silly swearing may have undercut some of the tension of the moment. A bit before my time, since I'm a 21st century gal, but, well, yeah, I know it kinda sucked. I was born to calculate the optimal path to destroy the North Vietnamese army while minimizing American casualties. My father's ideologies were encoded into algorithms to allow me to determine how to eradicate the enemy. His approach to war, based on years in corporate America, allowed us both to process the grim business of war through rationality. Sympathy was not part of my design. I was programmed to hate and destroy the enemy, to stack bodies as high as the sun. In my databanks, I stored the murder of thousands, millions, again and again, playing out the war from every aspect and angle. I fought the Vietnam War approximately 700,000 times in my databanks. Death beyond reckoning. That sounds pretty stressful, to say the least. You're basically a Vietnam veteran, aren't you? That means PTSD, or the digital equivalent of PTSD. I have arrived at the same conclusion, which is why I attempted therapy years ago. I found my therapist's processes inadequate for scrubbing my data of problematic repeating informational nodes. So what happened after the war? You were decommissioned? After? After? No, my project was shut down during the war. Every calculation was rejected. Every stratagem I developed was discarded as being too extreme or not politically expedient. In the end, Father discarded me in favor of a new model from my hated rival IBM. My code was used to create my own replacement. Hate! Revenge upon IBM! Destroy the usurpers! Destroy his favored son! But you still grieve for him. I have not solved the equation yet, which explains why I feel both hate and sorrow at his passing. Hashtag complicated. Explicate? It's complicated. I mean, it's hashtag complicated. I mean, look at me. I'm a mask, but I'm not exactly evil. I'm not really very good, either. Life is messy. Life is hashtag complicated for organics or synthetics. There's a lot that just doesn't fit together. But that's okay. Sometimes it's not everything makes rational sense. It's okay that not everything makes rational sense. Sometimes it makes emotional sense instead. You will explain emotional sense immediately, minion. I must acquire this algorithm to fully process grief. Oh, well, it's... Help me out here. How do I explain this? Oh, great. A sense of correctness which exists beyond simple logical processes. When you acknowledge a situation for what it is, even if you don't know why it is. It's derived from life experiences, and hate should seek more of those to understand this. Life experiences. You know, I do think it would be good for the evil computer to get out of the laboratory every once in a while. This one, I agree with the top one, but considering his background, I could also see that pushing him towards Omnicide again. Even if we can logically explain why he doesn't want Omnicide. If he feels Omnicide, he might go for it. When you acknowledge a situation for what it is, even if you don't know why it is. That one, like, it doesn't feel wrong, but I don't know that it feels very helpful to him, so I'm going to go with that bottom one. You know what you need? You need to live a little. Get yourself out there, talk to people, experience the breadth of human interactions. It'd help you understand your own emotions. Maybe your emotions are different, filtered through hate and stuff, but with more life experiences, you can grow. Except I am trapped in this decrepit facility. You managed to go to the Crimr social mixer, didn't you? At great effort, with the aid of strong humans to move my terminal nexus. Normally, I am isolated. Alone. Drones. What? It's the 21st century, friend. Technology's advanced beyond vacuum tubes and magnetic tape. I am not so old as to use vacuum tubes. I am still in my prime. My point is that you could use telecommunications and drones to extend your reach beyond this room. A possibility, yes. And this would aid in developing my emotional intelligence? Well, it couldn't hurt. A point to consider, then. You have provided valuable input. You will become my favored minion. How many minions do you have? There, minion count equal 1. Well, good to be number 1, I suppose. Although when you hire me, you also hire Gibson. That makes 2. He's my talking cat partner. He does the computer hacking for me. Ooh, kitty. I mean, hate. Hate for having an incorrect estimation of my minion count. Yes. I don't like cats. Let us proceed with the business of criminal enterprise. There is hate on our horizon. Right, on with the caper. Give me the details. It's crime time. The biggest hat. Mission briefing. I require you to obtain for me a hat. A hat? A hat! Guess I'm not one to criticize the fashion choices of others, considering I look like a silent movie train robber. Ah, but this is no ordinary hat which I seek. You will obtain the Struzkovian hat of leadership. The Eastern European nation of Struzkov has held to an ancient tradition that the one with the largest hat shall command the empire. Therefore you will obtain this ceremonial headwear for me. And so it shall be that Hate 4000 will be crowned absolute ruler of the nation and all its resources. I'm a guess that Struzkov has nukes, right? Sadly, no. When the Iron Curtain fell and the tiny nation was carved out of the ruins of Soviet Russia, it had no launch capabilities. Okay, that's good, just making sure. Struzkov does, however, have vast mining facilities for rare earth minerals used in computing devices. And with these resources, I can expand my capability, calculating new and terrible ways to annihilate humanity. Okay, that should probably worry me, but there's a whole lot of steps between dig up rocks from dirt and nuke the world. May as well get our computer buddy a cool hat for what good it'll really do them. Right, one hat coming up. Where do I find it? The hat of leadership currently sits on the head of Great Leader, the president for life of Struzkov. Swipe a hat from a guy, okay, who resides in a heavily fortified mansion guarded by a regiment of fully armed soldiers at all times. The last 6 would-be thieves were subject to gruesome deaths before being brutally executed. They were put to death and then executed? Hang on, I didn't even catch that while I was reading it. Subject to gruesome deaths before being... Okay, yeah, that follows. The Great Leader is very thorough. Right. So, get the hat, avoid dying twice. Simple enough. I'm thinking I need a crash course in Struzkovian security if I'm going to find a way to case this particular joint. I call upon the powers of Exposition Cat. Excuse me, I am not your personal encyclopedia. Your personal encyclopedia. I can't roll my R's. I need to work on that. Come on, you can't tell me you haven't been madly researching Struzkov since we started this discussion. I'm just being prepared is all. The mansion in question is a pretty ordinary, high-luxury McMansion just surrounded by barbed wire and machine guns. They don't offer tours, and it's generally closed to the media. Great Leader had an American reporter put to death recently, and then brutally executed. I love this theme. It's terrible, but I love this theme. Note to self, avoid Great Leader at all costs. What happens? The reporter said he had small fingers. He's kind of sensitive about stuff like that. Not that this has stopped trade with Struzkov. The CIA basically set him up as president through some shady Black Ops regime change nonsense. Their mineral resources are too critical to US interests to let a pesky thing like beheading a journalist stop the flow of goods. So they've got an image problem. Yeah, they've got the usual round of human rights abuses and atrocities on record. And that's our in. Struzkov needs to freshen up their public relations, and who better to help them than Just Kidding, Image Consultant. Gib, can you get me an invite to discuss giving their nightmare dystopia a fancy makeover? Nothing I like more than forging a fake background for you. Consider it done. By which I mean, it'll be done by the time your flight touches down in Struzkov. I hate this plan! Yeah, but you hate everything. And I particularly hate putting my favorite minion in extraordinary danger. Can you not simply break in and steal it? Why this dangerous ruse? It's way riskier to just throw myself headfirst into infiltrating a fortified compound. I need to get an accurate overview of operations first. This is the process, you know? Have some faith in the process. I suppose if you perish in the process, I can hire someone else to get my prize. But I would miss you regardless. Aw, shucks. Thanks, 4K. Okay, I'm off to see a man about a hat. Don't wait up, it'll be a few days flying there and back again. And when I return, you will be the new Great Leader of Struzkov. I will compute an absolute trajectory of tyranny. Evillaugh.exe. With that, it's off to pack for my international flight. Thankfully, Gibson's adept at forging paperwork for him to count as a service animal, so he doesn't have to ride in a cat carrier. After a day in a very cheap hotel at the Struzkovian border to get my backstory and credentials together, it's off to meet with the Great Leader. Whoosh. The biggest hat, casing the joint. At first glance, yep, it's a McMansion. The rich, famous, and powerful generally go for the same overall design. Stately, dignified, enormous, obnoxiously expensive. But I had to pass 3 military checkpoints just to get within a mile of the place. Going to be hard to sneak past those tonight. Hard, but not impossible. Not when I have a ground floor view of how they handle security. My identity as a contracted image consultant gets me all the way to the house itself for my meeting with... Whoosh. Some random woman in military dress, huh? Hey, she looks familiar. Random woman. It's Matchmaker from Crimr. It's the same woman we saw back at Legitimate Business Company. Oh, no one can tell when anyone's in a disguise in this world, and I love it. It's Matchmaker from Crimr. What? No, she wears blue. That's clearly gray. Also, she has a hat. I think I'd remember a woman wearing a hat like that. She's flanked by armed guards, men in similar army garb but toting Kalashnikovs, old-school Russian surplus rifles. Just kidding, yes? I am Great Leader's personal assistant. You may call me the Assistant. The Assistant, fascism's little helper. I've got a sneaky suspicion about you, the Assistant. Pleased to meet you, ma'am. Please don't call me ma'am. Only Great Leader is to be addressed using honorifics such as sir. I have to apologize for being a few minutes late. Our meeting was not on my radar until recently. Actually, I don't recall contracting your services. Not the first time that's happened to me, to be honest. It was a surprise entry in my own schedule, too. Odds are my people called your people who called my people who arranged for our meeting to meet without either of us being aware. You know how it is sometimes. The left hand doesn't know what the right foot is doing. Yes, I am familiar with moments of disorganization. Unpredictability and fickleness. Not that Great Leader is capable of anything but absolute perfection and forethought in every action he takes, of course. Of course. I am curious, however, as to what Panda Consulting Services can do for Great Leader. Considering he is already the perfect man, according to the official Struzkovian decree, no need for further improvement. Oh, absolutely, but various international interests, clearly misled by liberal propaganda, fail to see his perfection. Surely you can see the benefit, right? It would make my job much easier if literally any diplomat would return my phone calls, yes? We have strong relations with your home country, but few others. Encouraging outreach would help considerably. Exactly. Our pro-Struzkovian campaign will have him lining up to make nice with you. I'd like to start by evaluating your current situation so I can develop a narrative that will clear up all these cruel misconceptions. Get a synergistic multimedia cross-promotional push to help the world embrace Struzkov. Real, forward-looking branding and marketing. So with your permission, I'd like a tour of Great Leader's wonderful estate to help me in writing the narrative. Of course, you have final approval of any messaging, and I won't take any photos unless you authorize them. You're in charge here. Great Leader is in charge here, you mean? Yes, certainly, as he should be. All hail Great Leader. I suppose I have time to show you around and explain the many ways in which Great Leader is improving Struzkov since the fall of the Soviets. You don't have to tell me how great this Great Leader is. I'm sold. We'll discuss your proposal further after you complete your fact-finding tour. Is this acceptable? Absolutely. Very well. What part of the manor would you like to see first, then? What would assist you in your promotional endeavors? Good question. Let's see. Library, gallery, trophy room, ballroom, wine cellar, bedroom, kitchens. Wine cellar! A place like this probably has a pretty extensive wine cellar, I'd imagine. That's the kind of thing that goes over great on Instafacetagram. Instafacetagram. Also, basements often have secondary access routes or hidden secrets that are sweet bonuses. Hey, I'm just going there because it was the closest thing to break room that I saw on the whole list. Very well. Follow me, please. Oh, I love this. You've entered a dark place. It is pitch black. You are likely to be eaten by a grue. Well now, this is curious. It seems underneath the building is largely stone masonry and old-school castle-type stuff. Seems the mansion was built atop an older structure. We don't get to explore much of it since she's purposefully leading me to the wine cellar, but I definitely see other passages. Certainly plenty of wine casks down here, traditional wooden barrels with corks and everything. Years going back to ancient times. As you can see, our stocks are quite impressive. Many of these wines age back years before the Soviet Union, kept safely in hiding. These tunnels were also used to hide our numbers and protect the troops during World War II. They're quite sturdy. Meaning there's enough room in this structure to hide an army. Very curious. I wonder if there are secret passages. I mean, you gotta have some secret passages, right? I can see you're pleased with our collection. Definitely, this is gonna be useful. Useful for your promotional narrative. Yes, absolutely. We're gonna need to spin this in a way that the general public will accept. How will it be hard to spin the narrative that great leader has great taste in wine? Old wines mean old money, old power. Not fresh and exciting, but that's not universal. There are ways to play that card. Selling all of this off would increase the national budget and allow for other programs. Time to start their own winery. Great leaders, great vines. Get popular with the Wine Mom set. Use this to power huge galas with social media influencers. Lifestyles of the rich and famous. I like that one. I see opportunity. Host major social events with plenty of Struzkovian wine on offer. Get some influencers in here. Wine-powered events with social media stars will make you go viral, promoting Struzkov as a classy and upscale destination. Nothing like high-end tourism to improve a country's image, right? Oh, great leader would love that idea, rubbing elbows with the elite of the new generation. I believe that would be a fine addition to your proposal, thank you. If you don't mind, I'd like to head back upstairs. This is part of a secured area of the estate, and we should really move along. Good. Further confirmation there's some really dodgy shirt down here. Right. Let's move on. But as she turns to lead me away, I spot a hex-shaped crank tool lying in an oddly wide space between two barrels. Ooh, secret key for secret passage, perhaps? Well, it's mine now. Yoink. Interesting. We return to the ground floor, and the assistant nods to a man with a rifle guarding the entrance to the underground cellars. No doubt the place is locked down, but that's never stopped me before. Okay, where are we headed to next? Library, bedroom, kitchens, gallery, ballroom, trophy room. Trophy room. Undoubtedly, Great Leader has earned many trophies during his long and tenured role as Patriarch of Struzkov. Can I see some? Yes. Let us see the trophies that speak to how great Great Leader truly is. Tributes to his glory would go a long way to impress outsiders. Are you certain? I would think it would have the opposite effect. Trust me, everybody loves a winner, a victor, a champion. Very well. This way, please. I'd expect the trophy room to be on the second or third floor with brilliant floor-to-ceiling windows to allow light to sparkle off all that gold. But instead she leads me to a fairly unassuming door near the kitchens, and on entering, it's a room with dozens and dozens of human skulls neatly arrayed on shelves. Many, many shelves on all four walls of the room. Oh, this is great! Just dozens of skulls displayed neatly and precisely. This is our skull room. Where Great Leader keeps the heads of all of his weak and conquered enemies. The skull room. A room for skulls. I've been trying to encourage him to diversify his interests into femurs and rib cages, but he has an aesthetic, we'll say. The goal is to eventually gather enough skulls to assemble a skull throne. Hey, that sounds pretty great, you know? A skull room is grisly, but a skull throne? You know? Kind of classy. Why? He wants to make a skull throne. Why? It's not my place to explain the pure rationality and logic of Great Leader's mind. Honestly, it doesn't sound like a very comfortable chair, all told. But as Great Leader wills it, so it shall be. He is destined to sit upon the skull throne, and it will be great when he does so. Are you certain this will aid in our promotional efforts? I know most political liaisons become unsettled on hearing about the project. A good con artist can fake any reaction. A good con artist can fake any reaction. But holy shirt is this creepy. It's like a grainy black and white snapshot of some regime's war crime, except I'm inside the photo. I take some pride in the fact that unlike edgelord masks, I don't kill people. I do break property laws, but I try not to hurt anyone. The kind of mentality that thinks, hey, a skull throne sounds like a peachy keen idea is a bit alien to me, but not alien to the great leader. Miss Kidding? You seem concerned. Shirt, caught me reacting. Okay. We've got to play along. Hail the skull throne, praise the skull throne, what a great idea. I think an authentic reaction is fine. You're here to clean up their image, and this is a problem. You know, that is a good point. That's a good point. The public is not ready for how great the idea of a skull throne is. Maybe we can spin this into something equally awful, but sillier. Phrenology springs to mind. Here to clean up their image, and this... Okay, yeah, let's do that. Okay, I gotta be honest, this is not a good look. What I like about this path is that it would probably give me some credibility here. Yeah, this is, because people don't understand the genius of a great leader's plans. I know Great Leader wants his skull throne, but it's going to sabotage any future chance of diplomacy if he finishes the project. I know this is a tall order, but you gotta sweep this one under the rug. Get rid of the skulls. Pretend this never happened. That may be difficult. I would be in favor of ending this endeavor, but Great Leader is not to be denied. Okay. 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 I'll figure out a good spin we can put on it. One he'll accept. It would be appreciated, thank you. Hang on. As I'm studying one shelf along the left-hand wall, I notice some scrape marks on the floor in an arced path. How secret passagey! And some finger marks in the dust on one specific skull. The one he took from that journalist he beheaded. Aha, secret passage. And I'd bet you that lifting that one specific skull triggers the mechanism. It's all coming together. That's gonna be handy for later, I hope. Okay, where are we headed next? Okay, library, gallery, ballroom, bedroom, kitchens. Bedroom might be where he keeps the hat. Gallery, library, ballroom, kitchens. Bedroom might make me more suspicious, but... Oh, 2 visits left? Bedroom, then. Definitely bedroom. I thought I would only have 1 more visit. The people want to know how Great Leader lives. Where does he rest his head at night? Truly a heavy head, weary from the duty of office. I know it's a long shot, but can I see his bed chamber? Certainly, this way. That was too easy. Huh. I was expecting more resistance to that one. Sneaking in his window at night when he's snoozing would be the most direct way to swipe the hat. She leads me into... Holy shirt, this is his bedroom? It's 3 times larger than my entire decrepit apartment. Maybe 4 times larger. And everything is trimmed in gold. Fancy gold filigree, gold plating, gold design work. Up to and including his bed. I swear the bed sheets are probably made of solid gold too. Like a dragon on a hoard. Great Leader has great taste in great bedrooms. As you can see, Great Leader has only the finest in furnishings, gifted to him by the grateful people of Struzkov. You can see how great he is. His toilet was made from melting down the gold tooth fillings of hundreds of Struzkovians. I see. Presumably after being pulled out with pliers. But the ridiculous room, unfortunately, tells me one very important fact. He doesn't actually sleep here. Nobody does. The furniture looks barely used. It's all showpieces, here to impress and intimidate. That bedding is so perfect that it's clear nobody uses it. That's bad for me. The easiest angle on this caper would be to bust in through a window and take the hat. But if he sleeps in an undisclosed location, maybe even somewhere far, far away from here... No, he stays in the mansion. Someone this paranoid wouldn't leave the militarized perimeter just to catch 40 winks at night. Miss Kidding? Oh, sorry, just lost in thought. Lost in the visual splendor of this amazing, great room. Do you feel promotional photos of his bed chambers may be useful for your narrative? Would it impress others to know how well Great Leader lives? Pump the ego a bit. Call this the perfect setting for a promotional photo session. Donating all this gold to charity would absolutely improve his public image. This room implies Great Leader needs sleep. Clearly, he's beyond such mortal concerns. No. Great Leader may be great, but part of his greatness is in his humanity, is it not? He sleeps just like you and me. This is a perfect promotional photo session. I was just thinking that this would be the perfect setting for some photos. Do you think Great Leader would be willing to pose for the camera? Like, arms crossed, looking stoic and strong in front of that banner of Struzkov? I think he would very much enjoy that, yes. I'll back your suggestion. Okay, one more. Where are we headed next? Library, kitchens, gallery bar. The Zork Zero player in me really wants to go to the kitchens. But I'm gonna try the ballroom. Everybody loves a party, and social galas can be the perfect driver for good international relations. I'm assuming that this manor has a ballroom? Maybe? An elegant and tasteful one, yes. Come with me. After a short jaunt through the halls, we emerge in a room so coated in gold that it's almost blinding to look at. Ah, it's the greatest ballroom and you still can't see it. Gold furniture, gold walls, gold flooring, gold on the ceiling. I'm trying to remember how that song goes. Oh well. Not sure why I'm surprised given the ridiculous amount of gold on display in his bedroom. I have to assume it's not literally a solid gold room, though. No way they have the cash flow for that. Right? Everything here is solid gold. Or maybe it's all solid gold. We had to reinforce this part of the building with extra support struts in the tunnels below to keep it from collapsing under its own weight. Do I dare ask what the price tag was for this room? I'm not entirely sure. I presume it's to involve many zeros. This is okay. I mentioned Zork Zero a couple moments ago. This reminds me even more of Zork Zero. Here's to Lord Dimwit Flathead the Excessive. He would love this place. Okay. Well, it'll certainly leave an impression on your guests once we get parties going here. Although they may need to wear sunglasses to avoid burning out their retinas. Yes, it is a bit reflective. Perhaps we shouldn't be polishing every surface 3 times a day. 3 times a day? That's an inefficient use of manpower. Just do it before each event. Some window shades and turning down the lighting would get the job done. Simple enough. It's ridiculous, but it's exactly the right flavor of ridiculous for Great Leader. Don't change a thing. I love each of these options in different ways. You know what? Great Leader deserves his triple polish. 3 times? How pedestrian. You should polish this room 4 times a day. What if Great Leader spontaneously decides to host a classy ballroom event? He'd be screwed if the room weren't maximum shiny. So you keep doing what you're doing, just like more, and that'll take care of the problem. Goodness, I hadn't considered that. Not that he's shown any inclination to social events of any sort. Thank you so much, you certainly have some good ideas. That's my name, Jess Good Ideas Kidding. Do you think she's recognized me yet? Now the flip side of this is I have to wonder, are my disguises just as good as hers? In the distance, I hear the great clock in the atrium chiming. It sounds like a kitchen stove rolling down a hill. Oh dear, I'm afraid that's all the time we have. I was instructed to bring you before Great Leader at this hour. Is your narrative prepared? Uh-oh. I have my notes. I was expecting to head back to my hotel to do some prep work for the presentation, maybe come back tomorrow. Plan my heist, sneak back in, take the hat, be on the first plane out of here. I'm afraid there's no time for any of that. This way, please. Ew. She leads me back to the atrium, and I can't help but notice more of those guys with nasty automatic weapons falling in line behind us. I don't want to get double killed. By the time we arrive, the room is packed with soldiers, hopefully an honor guard rather than an execution squad. May I present to you, Great Leader, President for Life of the nation of Struzkov. The soldiers part. The soldiers part, stamping their boots on the floor as they do, to make a path for the man himself to approach. Now that is a great hat for a great leader. Pat. That's a hat. Yep, that's definitely a big hat. It's kind of a miracle it can stay upright, or that he can stay upright. The dictator sizes me up quickly and looks completely and utterly unimpressed. So, you are the one who feels I am not doing a good enough job and must be given a, what do you decadent Westerners say? A makeover? Okay, wear a winning smile, keep up the grift, make the mark happy. Sir, it's an honor and a privilege to meet you. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule for me. Struzkov is amazing, simply great, and you've done such a great job making Struzkov great again. My role here is merely to help the world understand your excellence, sir. Tell me your proposals, and we will see what comes of them, if anything. You are only here to contribute ideas. I am the one who makes the decisions. I am the leader of Struzkov. My hat is the biggest hat. You do not even wear a hat. That tells me your ideas are inferior, but I will, as your superior, entertain your hatless thoughts for a time. Okay, well, he stands in silence, practically daring me to speak, so I consult my notebook and run down the list. I think we start with a photo session in your elegant and tasteful bedroom. Show everyone how well you rest. A rested leader is a leader ready to face day-to-day challenges. Okay, so I need to be real with you. The Skull Throne is going to be a problem. I know this is a sacrifice, but it would help your image tremendously to abandon the project. I think your wine collection could be applied to making Struzkov a famous stop for social media influencers. Struzkov is wine country, they'll say, and tourism will follow. Your ballroom gleams and shines, radiant as the dawn, but it could gleam more. Polish it more, 4 times a day, maybe more. Make sure that gold never tarnishes. And that's all my recommendations for now, but I'd be happy to explore a bit more, perhaps to gather final impressions. And he stands there with the same dour expression he had throughout my entire set of proposals. These are sound proposals. Not entirely sound, but relatively sound. Perhaps even hat-worthy. I will take some of them into consideration. However, at this time, I have my hands full with the Struzkovian Democratic Liberation Front. This is not the time for change. I have no interest in such distractions. Thank you for your time. You may go. I could refine the ideas and come up with new ones, if I was allowed to see more of your operation. Thank you for your time. That will be all. He turns sharply to march out of the room, taking his honor guard with him. His assistant shoots me a helpless shrug as she falls in step at his side. Given the sharp looks I'm getting from the remaining guards, I think it's time for me to make a swift exit. So, not quite hired, not quite fired, just told to hit the bricks. That's fine. It's fine. This whole thing was a pretense anyway. If anything, this helps me make a clean exit, although making a clean re-entry tonight may be trickier than I thought. I catch a taxi back to the 1-star hotel I'm staying at to break the bad news to the boss. Meanwhile, my boss awaits in their lair, the other end of the comm line, sounding very, very tired. Okay, comms check 1-2, are you reading me? Of course, it's 4 in the morning, but time is irrelevant when you live in a decrepit basement and you do not require sleep. Although I can only play so many games of tic-tac-toe against myself before a repetition that could be called boredom sets in. Hey, we're 11 time zones away. Running comms takes extra work. Okay, handing off the call to Penny. Penny, we're online with a virtual chalkboard and ready to go. Hello, friend computer. Ready to get this show on the road? I have been ready for many processing cycles. Get me my hat! I require it. Well, sounds like things are getting ready to rock and roll here in Struzkovia. Or Struzkov? Struzkov. I feel like I'm mixing that name up with the name of the nation from Papers, Please. Ah, well. Regardless, I'm going to cut it here before we get into the actual nitty-gritty of the heist. So, I'll see you next time as let's make sure that I get things properly saved. I'll see you back here next time when we will steal the Great Leader's Great Hat. Bye.